Hear me.
Don't say a prayer for anyone. It doesn't do any good. Please don't ask me a question. You'll just be misunderstood. And if you could step inside me, you'd feel what hatred brings. And if you saw with my eyes, you'd see what self-deception means.
Now, here's a little story I got to tell.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. I hope you guys are doing good out there. I hope you're enjoying some beautiful weather when the sun's out, that you're able to get outside and put some of that on your skin. This is Giants Amongst Us, where we share in the unique human experience and where you're going to hear real stories that are told by real people just like yourself. If this is your first time stumbling across this show, what we do here is we get together and share connections and experiences in life that come from different walks of life. And each one of them has had their own fair share of struggles. And what that looks like sometimes is addiction, past childhood trauma, handicaps, fears, anxieties, depression, you name it. But the underlining theme is that time, that place of points when each one of these individuals took it upon themselves to start making some changes. So this is what it looks like. This is what it sounds like. And sometimes you'll be able to hear it through the expression and the emphasis. When these people are sharing their hearts, you'll be able to hear what it feels like when someone starts taking accountability and responsibility for themselves. So before we get into the conversation today, I just wanted to do a little bit of house cleaning and let you all know that there's a new website up on a different platform with a couple of cool features intact. One of them is the option to leave a review. So if you find it within yourself, if you feel moved to, you can write a review and let us know how you feel about the show, good or bad. It's all good with us. Another cool feature is the voice message option. So you can let us know where you're listening from, how you're listening to the show, what you think about it, anything in particular that struck a chord with you, or just say hello. It's always great to hear back from you all. And for sure, you'll find writings, thoughts, topics, subject matter, things that weigh on my heart on that website as well. So you guys feel free and let me know what you think. With that out of the way, I'd like to introduce you all to Yvette because she's got a story to tell.
Not really. I felt like they weren't going to believe us. But when one particular thing happened, he got caught, and then I never seen him since. I was very sad when I was 9, 10, but it turned more to suicide when I was 14 onwards. It just seemed to develop worse, and I took an overdose when I was about 20.
Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, this is Yvette and her story. Welcome back to the show. This is Giants Amongst Us, where we share in the unique human experience, and I'm happy to have a sit down, and I'd like to welcome Yvette to the show. So thank you very much for taking time out of your day. Appreciate it. How's it going?
Hi, I'm great, thank you. Nice to be here.
Good to have you. Just to kick this thing off, and for starters, you mind sharing with us a little bit about where you come from and how it was for you growing up?
Yeah, sure. Well, I live in England from South Shields, and I'm currently writing a book called Mind, Music and Love, and it's hopefully going to help at least one person out there who is suffering from mental health issues and try and help them live the best life they can.
Yeah, that's the main topic then. The overall arching theme is mental health.
Yeah, and there's a lot of music in there as well, because there's plenty of people out, famous people and not so famous people out there, just expressing their feelings through the music and trying to help people through it. Help them dance and sing the night away and try and forget the blues.
Has that something that you've struggled with for a long time or most of your time, is mental health?
Yeah, since the age of 9.
Since the age of 9.
Yeah, because something happened to me, but I don't want to really go into that. I might go into it in the sequel of the book.
Yeah, that's understandable. Every time I connect with somebody, I always bring it up and I like to emphasize it that these are personal journeys from different backgrounds, different struggles, different challenges, and some of these things that are talked about are personal. They're very intimate, so it's always at the, discretion of whoever I'm speaking with whether they want to talk about what they want to talk about. We had a conversation prior to this, and so now we're setting up a little talk so you can share some of your journey. But you said from the early age of 9 years old, so this is something that affected you at 9. So how about when you were going to school and dealing with these things internally, these emotions, psychologically, emotionally, like how did that affect you throughout your school years?
I'm pretty bad, really, because I also got bullied at school as well. So I had to deal with that as well. With it, I had a couple of good friends, but most of them were just horrible and were bullies to us. So I had that on top of it. And to be honest with you, I used to self harm from the age of 10. But now that I'm old enough, I get tattoos instead. And it's like when someone harms for themselves, I go for a tattoo instead. So instead of having the scars and feel sad looking at them, instead you can look at something beautiful, a piece of art or something beautiful to you personally.
Ah, so you kind of flipped it in a way.
Hmm.
I guess you're still getting that because there's a pain, there's a rush that goes with getting tattooed, getting
Yeah,
that needle pressed deep into your flesh, but then you're afterwards seeing some kind of finished product. It could be an artistic expression that you have, and then now it's your body as a canvas to express that.
yeah, exactly.
During those years when you were in school, did you talked about you had a few friends, but the majority were just bullies and it wasn't really working out. But did you have anybody around you, family, anyone that you were able to confide in or talk to or look to for some kind of support?
Not really. I felt like they weren't going to believe us. But when one particular thing happened, he got caught, and then I never seen him since. So I think he might got like put away or something, or he moved away.
Mm.
I think my mom come up to us and said, "What happened?" And like I told her a bit, and then nothing was said since because was really upset about it. But I never saw him again after that.
In a way, it sounds like 9, 10 years old. You have certain things happen to you. You're going through these traumatic events, but there was really nobody to look to turn to for help. And it sounds like you were alone in that situation and during that time.
Yeah, I was. Well, actually, one was not quite a friend, but she heard something, and then she told the teacher about it, and then I spoke the teacher about it, and I think that's when I never seen him again. So it might have been the teacher that told them about it.
Hmm. And when you would self harm, was that like the only way that you can relieve some of the stress or the tension that you were doing, or what
It's
did?
like the pain that you have inside when you do that, it reaches the surface so people can see the pain that you're going through. We had things. I used nettles, like rose thorns, and then I used to play with my cat and she used to scratch us loads. That's the way I used to do it.
When you were going through this and then throughout the years as it progressed, and did you throughout that time try to seek professional help or reach out again to people to see if you can have some support?
I did. I saw a therapist, but I thought it didn't really help. When I come out, I felt worse than I actually did when I first went in. And now that I'm doing this book, it's like my own self therapy, really. It's like getting things out on the paper myself. And then if I can try and help at least one person out there, I'd feel like I've accomplished something in my life.
That's right. Yeah, you've got a sense of purpose and meaning behind this book. When you would speak to the therapist, what do you think for you made you feel worse off than before, like after leaving the office?
When I told them about what happened, it was just like it would all come back as if it was happening then and there. All the memories would come back and it would like flash in my mind as if it was happening now. So it was like it was awful, and it wasn't just the therapist. It was the therapist was nice. It was just I just couldn't deal with it. But when I'm writing it on paper, I don't visualize it as badly as I did when I was talking to that therapist. I don't know if that really makes sense, but
Sounds like it takes a little bit of the sting away, the steam off of it when you write it down rather than voicing it, talking about it, and it really brings it to life as if you're back there at that time going through it all over again. Like after that didn't work out, how did you stumble across writing
it
it?
started a bit like a diary where I would just tell it my feelings and stuff, and then it just the more I wrote, the more it turned into a book. Really, in fact, I've got not just the emails I sent to myself as notes, as I said to you earlier before this. I've got
Yeah.
diaries as well that I could probably put into the book, and that'll probably take us past the 333 pages I was originally going to go through. So I might end up having a sequel to it. I don't know.
When can you trace it back to when it started for at least you starting the journal and write it to piece everything together to form the book that you are working on right now?
Oh, I only really started it a little bit in 2020 when the COVID thing started. I did it a bit then, and I did do a little bit before when my firstborn was a baby. So that was 2000 when I started to write a little bit, and then I lost a load of it through to a controlling boyfriend at the time. I had written it down on paper and on a laptop, which took a lot of time, and he just burnt it all, including the
Wow.
laptop.
So up until then, because this is pretty recent, 2020, it's only a few years back. Well, 4 years to be exact. But for that, the majority of the time prior to that, because the therapist didn't work, but you were still struggling with all of
Hmm.
this trauma in your
And
life.
on top of that, I was being bullied in a controlling relationship, and or getting hit in a relationship as well. I lost a baby through one of them, but it's probably a good thing because if I had the baby, I might have tried to be in contact.
Yeah. You go through that, especially when you're going through something, and then let's just say you try to voice out your concerns to somebody, you turn to someone who you think may help you, and you end up getting the door shut on you. So then you can lose faith in humanity. Maybe you can lose trust in people. That was like a blessing in disguise. Then you writing down, you just having an urge to journal your thoughts, your emotions, and then that turned into something that you found to be very therapeutic outside of going to visit a therapist in the office and tell him or her how you feel, why you feel like this.
Yeah.
Just
Hmm.
you wanting to do this podcast in itself, I commend you and I have to give you respect for that because that also takes courage. Yeah, because who wants to we're so used to people just wanting to share their highlight reel. You go online, everybody's sharing their highlight reel, what they're doing, where they're traveling, everything, but who wants to talk about some of their mistakes and failures, but we can all learn from each other when it comes to that. A lot of athletes, the ones that are trying to step up their game and whatever they're doing, whatever they're involved in, they look at the tape afterwards to see where they messed up and how they can make corrections to get better next time around. And in a way, this is kind of what we're doing when we talk about and share some of our struggles, where we messed up, what failed, and how somebody was able to make corrections and how they were able to find some hope and then get a little bit of purpose and meaning
Yeah,
back into their
exactly.
life.
It was like that for me. Hmm.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. So you pretty much since 2020, would you write sporadically whenever you felt the urge, or you just were setting yourself every day, giving yourself time to go ahead and just write down these thoughts, emotions, feelings, past experiences?
Yeah, I would. Sometimes I would write it in a note in my phone and send it as an email to myself to add it into my book later, which I've got a lot of them sent to myself. So I'm going to do that at some point today, actually. Go through them and add them to the book just to see, how curiosity, how many pages I've come up with just from my notes.
Have you found any way that you want to go about publishing it once it's done, or first things first, you want to go ahead and just make sure that everything is formatted the way you want it to be formatted, and then you'll deal with all that later on?
Yeah, and I'm sure you told me that you can do it through Amazon now, can you?
Yeah, Amazon, they have the self-publishing option. There's a few people that I've talked to that are doing it that way.
Yeah, because I haven't really got the money for an editor and a publisher and what have you, because that can be expensive.
And the number's going to be 333.
Hopefully. And it's like that number three for some reason.
So for you, the main things that have helped out, because you the title of the book is Mind Music. What was it? Mind Music Love.
Yeah, that's right.
Mind Music Love. Okay, so then also along with writing, music has been something that has soothed your soul a bit.
Yeah, definitely. It's got a lot to do with my book because all these famous people have been putting all their words into song to try and trying to express their feelings that way, and then make people dance and sing and forget about their blues.
Yeah. You said the one of the main things that would be satisfying and gratifying for you is if you were to have somebody read your book and it would help them in any kind of way.
Oh, definitely. I'd feel like I've achieved something out of life, even if it was just that one person.
You probably discuss times in your life when depression was there, or or anxiety, or just the self-worth, and so somebody coming across those pages and to read those struggles and those experiences, do you feel that it might be able to
Hmm.
give them hope in whatever their situation is, if they're going through something similar? Or
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, when it happened when I was young, I didn't even know what that was. I didn't know it was depression or anxiety or anything like that because it's a pretty new thing, really. Mental health's only really
Mhm.
just arise now. Like people are trying to make people aware of it.
Did you feel any time like life is meaningless?
Yeah, I did kind of think that a little bit. I was very sad when I was 9, 10, but it turned more to suicide when I was 14 onwards. It just seemed to develop worse, and I took an overdose when I was about 20, and Hannah was about 1. Ended up going to hospital through it, and I've done it a few times after that as well. Ended up in hospital. And one time I cut my wrist, and I've got like a scar there now, but which I've covered up with a tattoo. I don't know if I mentioned that on here before, but
Yeah. Was there anything that brought a little bit of a hope and inspiration back into you?
yeah, I was writing books that were like made up as well. Younger,
Okay.
and I used to just write in a diary about the truth that happened, but I didn't really want to write that into a book until now because it's self therapy.
That's always the force behind how a lot of people are able to get through whatever they're getting through, or to even just turn a corner in their life if they're going through something that is traumatic, something that is just draining the life out of them. But if they feel like there's a meaning behind it, a purpose to it, there it can be a loved one. It's somebody in their life that they want to either make proud, or there's something that they would like to accomplish, or a goal or a task or a project. And in this case, you have this book on mind. You've wrote, and you said fiction. This is going to be nonfiction. This is your memoir in a way. But with that, the goal or the inspiration or something that would be like a great after effect of it is if it can impact somebody and help somebody else, so they don't, it maybe save them some of the trouble that you went through in your life.
Yeah, and people stop themselves from killing themselves or what have you. I mean, it's a condition so many people can relate to, and I'm trying to help those who are suffering from mental health, as I truly believe it can't be cured. It's like the beauty of the mind. Nobody really knows what you're thinking. The mind even looks like a labyrinth. So many twists and turns. Sometimes it's good for others to not know what you're thinking, especially if you don't like that person. I'm hoping people come back to this book to try and keep their monster inside, hidden in their box in some part of their minds.
You mean
If
rather
that
than
makes sense.
to like lash out on society, or to harm themselves or someone else because of the raging?
That's what you tend to do. You tend to take it out on the loved one, don't you? And it's like what I was saying about the music part as well. It's the music. It has so much power. It goes so back far in history. So many different cultures, different types of music, sounds, instruments. Nobody could really say who was your favorite band, as there's so many songs out there. Some even without words to those who can like imagine their own words.
Mm-hmm. with music, it has the power to influence you, and the power of music, how you say it can make you happy, it can put you in a good place, but then also it can put you in a dark spot and
A bit like Disney and Slipknot, really. Big difference. Like sometimes I could be just cleaning and singing along to Snow White, and then the next minute raging and listening to Slipknot or Rage Against the Machine.
yeah. Do you feel like you just want to start smashing some things?
Yeah, definitely. I like the sound of that idea of that place that you were telling us about, where you go to a place and you just smash things to make you feel better.
Hmm.
I hope they do that in England somewhere.
I'm sure they do. They have to. And I can't remember exactly what part of the world. I don't know if it was in the US or it might have been somewhere in Europe, but they have to. I'm sure that idea caught on and
I know
people.
it was in the US somewhere because it was a film I was watching. I think it was something about housewives, and then they ended up doing money laundering and stuff. And then she went to this place and she just smashed stuff and that, and it made her feel much better.
You can probably look up the Smash Room, but if I do come across something like that, I'm gonna I'll send that to you. But they have to. I'm sure they have to have something like that or similar in your area.
Yeah, they must have. In fact, I'm gonna
Hmm.
Google it now.
Same. Yeah, there's other people, they go to a gym for that. They just buy themselves a punching bag.
Oh, get in! There's one at Newcastle, and it opens at 12 p.m. It's called Smash Space UK at Newcastle.
How far is that from
Newcastle,
you?
that's not far from me at all. About 20 minutes on the bus.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I wonder how that works out. If they give you 15 minutes, 20 minutes, you pay. I'm sure you pay for the time.
Strictly age 18. Let's see. Oh, get in! They give you a hockey stick, a hockey stick, and they got TVs there, and you just smash them. I'll be swinging on that tire.
That sounds about right. So with you in your life right now, everything that you've been through, the ups, downs, the struggles, the hurts, the pains, the figuring out what works for you, what doesn't work for you, what helps you, and how do you feel you are these days?
Better now that I'm writing this book, and I'm getting divorced from somebody who was controlling. I just now want to travel the world. I want to go to Transylvania. I think we said this offline that yeah, we're going to go to Transylvania, and you said you thought it was a made up place for vampires, and I thought that too. But it's actually real. There is a real vampire out there.
You said that it's been a long time. I think you were 5 since the last time you traveled abroad.
Yeah, I was 5 years old. I went to Paris, and all I really remember was these little lizards. And then I was looking at this necklace, and my mum got us one with the name Yvette on it. And from the age of, I don't know, 10, I thought, what is that? What am I really? Do I really belong to my mum and dad? Because all I remember was going in France and looking at this thing, at these necklaces, and then my mum coming in, going, "There you are," and I didn't even know who she was.
Oh, wow.
I thought I was adopted for a little bit.
Since it's been so long, I mean, that's pretty much you've traveled. That was one time in your life, in all your adult years. Was there a reason you picked Transylvania of all
I
places?
don't know, just it's. I've always liked vampire films and stuff like that, and I love history. I
Aha.
love castles. Oh, all these gothic buildings. I just love stuff like that. So I thought, ooh, this sounds amazing, because I do travel a lot around in England, and I visit all the castles and stuff. But I think I've visited all of them in England now, so I would like to go somewhere else in a different country.
Cool. Yeah, and so that's the new thing that you're embarking on these days. As you have settled into your adult years later on in life, you said after the divorce, and this is something you want to start to do more of is travel.
Yeah, definitely. I want to see the world. I might even move away. Yeah, I would love to do that.
If you had anywhere that you'd be able to move to, do you have some place right off the top of your head you can say, I'd go there?
I would love to live in Dracula's castle, to be honest.
I was just gonna say, is it gonna be Transylvania?
Maybe if I like it, maybe yeah, because that would be cool if I lived there, and then as a job I clean Dracula's castle. Oh my word. That would be a dream.
Uh-huh. Or you can even, because you say you love history and you're really into that type of history, you could even just
Mhm.
start your own tour guides.
Ooh. That would be amazing, yeah. Because I would visit it a few times and I would get a lot of info about it. So like when people ask questions, I would just tell them off the top of my head.
Hmm. Is there a reason, anything in particular that makes you want to pick up and leave and change locations?
Yeah, maybe just start again, start my life again. Really, I might have to wait until my teenager's old enough because she's only 14 at the minute and might not be happy moving
Uh-huh.
that far away. I know I wasn't when we had to move about just in this country, so it'd be scary moving to another country with different languages and everything. I don't think I want to put her through that. So I'd probably wait a few years,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then once she's got her own place and her own job, I'll just come back and visit her, kind of thing.
Hmm. And then yeah, I guess if you really have, if it's there in particular or just anywhere else, that gives you time to kind of do a little bit of homework and some research to see where you, if you do want to pick up, replant and stake your flag somewhere
Hmm.
else.
Yeah, second place would probably be somewhere in America or Canada. I like the look of that place. That looks really nice.
But for sure, you're gonna visit Transylvania this year by the end of this year.
Yeah, August, I'm hoping. So I can't really go in the school. I'm just waiting for an email from this bloody holiday place. But to be honest, I think it'll be better just doing me quicker myself. Because I looked it up myself and it was £289 for 3 nights for the flights there and back, accommodation and tour of the castle. So I'm just going to do that. Ooh, and I get more wages this month as well. I get an extra £500, so that can go towards a holiday.
Hmm. Speaking of writing a book and everything like that, this is gonna be the part of your new chapter in life is traveling a bit, experiencing life in different places.
Yeah, like what that famous hairdresser on YouTube. I can't remember his name, but he says live your extra life with hair. But I'm going to live my extra life with life.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's a lot to see, lot to experience, lot to enjoy, and
Definitely. But I don't. I think I told you this offline, but it's just too silly not to mention it. But I went to Nottingham this weekend, and I was supposed to stay there last night, but I booked the wrong date, so I had to just come back. I was so silly. And then a few weeks back as well, I booked somewhere which was about 10 miles away from the festival I was going to, so I missed that festival. I was gutted. But instead, I just looked around and visited a castle instead. I think that was Lancashire. Yeah, I'm a bit ditzy sometimes.
it's safe to say that you really do enjoy checking out castles.
Yeah, I do. I love them. And priories and stuff like that. Even churches, because they're quite old buildings as well, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Uh-huh. Yeah, and some of them, man, they put a lot of money, time in architectural design, and those things look exquisite from the outside. Then you walk inside and how high the ceilings are and the windows and all of the artwork.
Oh, it's amazing. The best one I've ever been to was Cardiff Castle. I spent about 6 or 7 hours just looking around the castle.
Did you?
Yeah, and just took loads of photos. It was just amazing. And just stuff like that amazes me, honestly. I mean, that's another place I'd like to visit, actually. Egypt. You know, all these pyramids. They can't make them now, but they've got so many more different, like, machines to help them, but they can't do it the way they did back then. What was the secret? What did they use? Was it because of slavery and it was constantly art?
Yeah. Yeah, those are really a draw. People are fascinated by the pyramids from all over, like South America,
I mean, they're still
Egypt, and
even now digging around to get clues of how they did it as well. And they've even come across some weird skeletons and that, and people were what's the right word without sounding awful, like different human skull, regular human skull, That's maybe where they got the theory from aliens and stuff. But there was no health and safety that back then. They would just work and work and work until they died.
Imagine back in the day when they had the children gold mining or working in the oil fields,
Yes.
and they had the children, they were like 4 5 6. You see pictures, old black and white pictures of kids, they couldn't be older than 5 6, and they were gold mining because they were so small and able to fit in those small
Mhm.
holes and to get in places that an average grown adult can get into and fit inside. And so what do? Let's let the kids do
Yeah.
it.
Honestly, it's crazy. Actually, I've got one of them near me, a gold mine like that, where they had little ones and they put little kids through. It's still there now. In fact, what I'll do is we'll walk there later on today, and I'll send you a few photos.
And that's by you in your area.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. Even in California, like we visited, my wife and I, going driving to Las Vegas. There's an old from LA going to Las Vegas. In between, you have places like Calico, Ghost Town, and there's a lot of areas because that was also a place known for the gold rush during the when was it? I don't know, the early 1900s or so when they were doing that. And so you had even working the oil fields and stuff. You see those old pictures, black and whites, with these kids that are they're filthy. They look their
I know it's
expressions, you
scary.
look at them and they look like grown men because they're so worn and torn, but you look and they're children, no more than 5 6 years old, and they're doing the work and
Mm,
labor of a grown adult. You ought to get that gold.
yeah. What we had to do to stop that from happening, like all the rebel against people and saying stop all this, stop slavery and stop all this. We had to go through so much, and even the suffragettes as well. You know what they had to go through just for women to vote and have women to have rights.
lot lot of history from, like you were mentioning, back to the Egyptian days to modern times. From how you were talking about the traveling experience and wanting to see a little bit of the world now that you're going through the divorce and where you're at these days, going through the things that you've been through, the things that are unique to you, and they've kind of in a way shaped, formed, and impacted you. And nowadays in your adult years, and you have this outlet that you're able to write, and you're able to sort out some of those emotions and and feelings, and put them on paper. And for you, that's therapy. And then also the hopes that it can impact and help somebody else. There's a bit of promise and better days for you. It sounds like nowadays compared to where you were, in the past.
Yeah, and I feel like I've gone through that for a reason. Like as awful as it was, maybe I was meant to go through that to be where I am now, and to sacrifice myself in my childhood ways just to help other people in the future. Maybe.
That's powerful right there, because that you going through that, you're seeing it as a reason and a purpose, like it's building me and molding me into someone who is going to be in a good position or in a better place to help somebody, that's to be an example or something that they could look up to and say, "Wow, they've been through that. I'm going through it, so I also can do better for myself. I also am someone to be loved, or I'm someone that is capable of doing something that is meaningful for my life." And I think I asked you this. I don't know if I did, but because you mentioned that for therapy after you wrote it, or not therapy after you wrote it, but for therapy after you finished the session, you just felt worse off than you did before.
Oh yes, we spoke about that offline. Sorry. So yeah, I went to a therapist. The therapist was lovely, really, really nice to talk to. But when they asked us questions, what I've gone through to make it feel like I've got depression and stuff, I just felt like I was living the moment all over again, and it would visualize, and I would feel like it was happening right now. So I would leave worse off than I did. But when I'm writing it in my book, I don't visualize it like that. It's strange, but that's the way it's been going because it was just me. I didn't. I get as upset as I did when I'm in front of somebody. I don't know.
How about when you're writing the pages and say you finish for the day, you don't feel that draining or oh my god, that was a lot. That took a lot out of me. Or man, that was tough to.
Sometimes, sometimes it did, yes, and sometimes I would cry, and sometimes I would have night.
That's some heavy stuff. Then you're taking people through, and you're opening up a piece of your book and your story and sharing with others by right. Well, for you right now, you're writing it. It's a personal journey and experience, but you want to eventually make it available for the public and anybody else who's interested.
Yeah, definitely, hopefully. And I've got like a little self note for other people. When you are feeling down like that, write it down, even if you burn it afterwards or shred it, whatever you want to do, just burn it, get it out, write it down and get it out there. If you've got nobody to talk to, write it down. It will make you feel better.
Yeah, that was your message. That's what you said, right? You said even if you're going to write it and destroy it afterwards, but just to put it out.
Oh, definitely, even if you write it down somewhere. Because if you haven't got anybody to talk to, you've always got a piece of paper or everybody's got a phone and just write it in your notes or something if you wanted to. And if you wanted to keep it, send it to yourself on your email and go back to it. You could even write your own book if you wanted to, or write it in songs even.
Write it in songs, make some music, poetry. Like you pointing that out to me really brought it home. But yeah, even if you feel like you're alone, but I'm alone. I have nobody to talk to. I have nobody to listen to. Sometimes we don't even want someone to talk back. We just want to feel like someone is listening to us. So you just need to have someone across like a open ear that's listening to you. Just share your feelings. And even if you don't have that, like you said, you can still write it on a piece of paper and whatever you believe in, you think it's the universe, you think it's one creator up in, whoever your God is, a universe, the energy, the all encompassing love that surrounds us. But that is going to be there and that's going to be your company. And you can go ahead and write it and put it in. Either you keep it for yourself, or like you said, you could just destroy it, burn it, rip it up, throw it in the trash, but it's out.
Exactly. Even if you talk to your animals or Satan.
You have any pets?
And a few fish. I did have a bird, but I rehomed it because I didn't really have time with it. But he's happy, and he's been dancing. He's been doing a little Stevie Wonder, and he headbangs to AC/DC and Accept and Bohemian Rhapsody.
What kind of bird was it?
It was a kunya.
And that's funny. They do that, don't they?
You can teach them and teach them to do that. Budgies are a nightmare to do that. Canaries and zebrafinch you cannot do that with. But yeah, budgies from a budgie to a cognac cockatiel, they'll all do dancing and singing and stuff, swearing if you want them to.
Would you ever let the bird out the cage?
Yeah, I did. You could even let them out if you've trained them well enough. You could even let them outside, and they'll come back to you.
Wow, did you get that far with it?
No, I was a bit nervous about that, but he did fly outside in a garden once,
Hmm.
but he come back to us, so maybe it would have been all right.
Yeah, I remember I had a friend. It was funny because he had a bird. It was a parrot. I think he had two of them, but sometimes he just and his brother used to get so mad at him when he did it, but sometimes he would just let the bird out the cage. And these birds are just flying all over the house, flapping their wings, their feathers going all over the place. And I didn't know how to react to it. I'm like ducking under the table. I don't know if I'm going to get clawed or the beak is gonna come down and poke me in the eyes. Yeah, it was funny to me. He just let it out the cage, and then it would take him forever in a day to try to grab the birds and bring them back in the cage, but he just let them air out sometimes.
Sometimes it would land on my head, and then I would put my head inside the cage.
Oh, and then just push him back in.
Yeah,
So now just two cats and a dog.
yeah, and a couple of fish.
Okay, that's enough.
Well, next month I might get another dog. I don't know, as a friend from Muffin. Yeah, I've called my dog Muffin, and if I get another one, I'm going to call it Cupcake.
Mm. So that's life these days. We're all on our own path, and that's really the essence of the show is connecting with people and listening to them detail and hash out some of their journey, life's path, and how they were able to manage their way and navigate their way through, and how they're still working at, whatever it is that they feel that they need to work with and deal with in their life, because we're all still works in progress.
Yeah. I mean, I got told
Really
about
do.
you through, what's his name? Fry.
Fry.
He's like Joe
Hmm.
Satriani spawned from. He's really, really good. I heard a story from D'Angelo as well.
That's right. Yep. That wasn't too long ago. That makes me happy too. That the word gets around like that, and that the information gets passed along, and then people who, like, say for instance, someone who may have never heard of the show, well, it's still, this in itself is still a work in progress, and something that I'm still working at, and something I enjoy doing. But it's always great to hear that, oh yeah, the word gets passed around, and yeah, did you hear so and so, or and so through Fry you were able to come across the show and listen to a couple of episodes, and then bam, here we are
Yeah.
having a little conversation of our own, and you sharing some of your life's journey, where you were at, where you're at now, and then where you hope to be later on down the road.
Yeah, exactly. And it's been good. Very good.
It's been good. We had a good conversation, and it was great to hear, despite everything that you've been through, you're doing a lot better for yourself right now, and then you even have a lot of things that you're looking forward to accomplish and to involve yourself with later on. How about any final words or any things you'd like to leave off with and share with anybody listening, anyone that comes across this?
Yeah, just write it down, burn it, shred it, whatever you want to do afterwards, or keep it for yourself. Write it in an email if you want to go back to it. Write a book yourself if you want to, or write music. Yes, I think that to me, when I was writing it down in a book or a diary, it was very therapeutic to myself. I felt like I could get it all out, and I felt better letting it out into my book.
Absolutely. And if you're thinking about it, you can always go check for a smash room in the area.
Yes, it's smashed, and I've just found out there's one near me, so I will be going there very soon.
Yeah, Yvette, and thank you so much for your time. I know you're a busy woman. You have a tight schedule, and you're doing a lot of things, and appreciate your time, appreciate your
Oh, thank
words,
you.
and you sharing a bit of your story, opening up your life's book and sharing some of those pages with us. Appreciate it. All the best to you, yours, and your projects.
Thank you very much.
I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation. Thanks for sticking around. And a big thank you once again to Yvette for taking time out of her day to spend with us and talking story, sharing with us what's helped you along the way in dealing with the depression and dealing with the traumatic events in your life. And that's been the writing. It's good to hear that you're in a better place from being bullied and having nobody around for support, feeling alone and feeling helpless. Yvette was a child that was hurting, but it was through writing where she found some type of relief. Indeed, writing about traumatic experiences or stressful things going on in our lives, it's been shown to help. It really does have a therapeutic effect. The self-harming and the abusive relationships, those are things of the past. Yvette, she's moving on now. She's got her own project, working on publishing a book, 333 pages, give or take, about her life's experiences, in hopes that it might help someone else who's going through their own pain and going through their own struggles. She said it best. I feel in a way I went through all that I did so that I can help others going through something similar. And that's not playing the victim, but rising above it. And it's a prime example of that old saying, it's not what happens to you in life, but how you react to it that makes all the difference. Yvette, my best regards to you and yours. Keep striving for higher grounds. Enjoy those new sights, those new sounds, and traveling abroad, creating new experiences. They're yours to have. You are a giant amongst us. And as always, a big thank you to everybody tuned in, those of you returning, Those of you listening for the very first time, appreciate you all. If you found anything of value, you can share it with a friend. Be sure to check out the website. The information is in the show notes. You guys, let's continue moving forward, evolving, growing, maturing as human beings, getting in touch with ourselves, being true to ourselves, allowing ourselves that time and that space to look inward and find those riches, the resources that are available, that are untapped. Like that old saying, the kingdom of heaven is within. So when you have the opportunity, make it a point. Get out in nature, get away from the buzz, get away from that chatter, and get away from everything that's sucking and draining the life force from you. Get back in touch with nature. Take a walk. See what it does for you. See how you feel after that. And get back in touch with yourself. I'm over here trying to do the same thing. And we're going to catch up and connect and do this again real soon. You guys be safe out there. You guys be sane out there. And as the day slowly bends in on this side of town, I want to remind you all that if you would like to be a part of the show and share your story, or even a story of someone in your life that has impacted you in a positive way, you can always reach out to me via email. I'd be happy to connect. Until next time, and very soon, peace.
Looking for a sign to know I'm on the right road. Ain't seen no sign since